Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I thought yesterday was Friday. I guess today is. How is everyone? I hope well. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about today's topic. This is True North. This is my video and audio podcast talking about overcoming adversity and living our life purpose. Welcome. Today's topic is entitled Living on the Edge. And it's actually inspired by a song, as we all know, Aerosmith, their famous song, which I was listening to this morning. And I'd been thinking about this topic for a while, but I couldn't really articulate a title or even just formulate all of my thoughts into a very concise way to be able to help others to live their purpose and to follow their dreams. And one of the things that the aha moments I received in my life, and I wanted to share with you all, is taking chances, calculated risk, going with our gut, and what that means in our careers and what does that mean in our personal lives. So today I want to talk about that briefly and try to convey some tactical tips to help those of you who are struggling, trying to overcome challenges in their personal life or maybe unhappy in your professional life, and what it means to go with your gut. How do you get to that place where you can trust your gut? And what does it mean to live on the edge in terms of taking calculated risks? And what is a calculated risk? What's a risk based out of fear and what's a risk based out of intuition? So we want to talk about that. So one of the things, and I'm going to try to relate it so everybody understands, when we say living on the edge, okay, it's not like, it sounds very dramatic and drastic and irresponsible, and you could construe it that way. However, the way I'm articulating it and conveying it is more of recognizing that we have one life. We should be pursuing the things that light us on fire. We should be pursuing the things that we get up in the morning every day and we're so excited to go to work, or we're so excited to do whatever we're doing. We get up in the morning, we love our partners or who we spend time with. So we want to get up in the morning and be excited about life. And so again, it's a lot to unpack, but in both our personal and professional, and quite honestly, the way I look at it is if you're not happy in your home life, it spills over to your professional life. That's why having balance in both areas is important. In terms of pursuing your passion, in terms of going with your gut, in terms of listening to the inner voice, in terms of living on the edge. And what I mean by that is taking chances to pursue your dreams. Again, in your personal and professional life. So that's context of what that means. And then, so how do we, I guess, let's talk a little bit about how we trust our intuition, because a lot of us are saying, oh, I really want to start that. I really want to launch a company. Or I really want to leave my corporate job so I can do a startup. Or, I'm going to give you an example of a friend of mine who's amazing. He's actually on my board. I'm not going to give his name, but he's amazing. I actually have a lot of stories of people in my network that are good friends that are now part of my team. But basically, he and I had dinner a couple of years ago, and he was talking about, he's a Booth MBA, just like me, similar family values, similar upbringing, highly educated, highly talented, loving parents that want the best for him. And we were talking about how he left corporate life. He was in corporate life like me. Well, not like me, but I left much earlier. But he was in corporate life for, 20 years out of business school and very successful. CMO, CEO track for sure. He was right there. He was ready and right there. And I told this story before, but I'll tell it again. And he and I were having dinner locally and catching up. He was asking me questions about entrepreneurship because he just left to start his own company. And he was asking me how I did it multiple times and just tips. And he's just such a nice guy. But anyway, bottom line is we talked about how growing up, our parents, again, they were looking out for our best interests, pushed us. There's one track. There's the CEO track. Like we were set up with academia and everything in our lives from when we were little all the way through to go that traditional CEO track. And he noticed that all of a sudden he's like VP marketing or whatever at this corporate job. And he's realizing he's in his office. He's a stellar team, super nice guy. Like, I mean, probably one of the highest functional teams within the corporation. This is a publicly traded Fortune 500 company, or maybe it was 300. I don't know. But bottom line is he realized one day he had like an aha. And again, this relates to living on the edge because he had to say goodbye to corporate and the 401k, the IRA, whatever, the big salary, everything. It's a risk. Okay. And so he noticed one day when he's office, like he's like, all these people have been coming into my office. They knock on his door, they walk in and they're like, Steven, do you have 5 minutes? Yeah, sure. Come in. No problem. Come in. Shut the door. Different departments, guys, different departments, not the same, not on his team, different departments, asking him about leadership and team management. Like, I've got this problem with my team. So-and-so is not getting along, blah, blah, blah. Like, what should I do? Because Steven naturally had the secret sauce to highly functional collaborative teams. So Steven's like, I had this aha moment one day when I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I'm highly valuable. What I've learned, not only am I innately talented and I just know these things because he has this like sixth sense about, he's just a really, and so he ended up going not back to school, but like getting all the educational things, thoroughly learn a typical Booth MBA, just like myself, and just highly, the fact that the reason why he's on my team is he's very humble. So I really value people who are super smart, super talented, but there's no ego. They leave the ego at the door and they are willing to learn and start from the bottom and learn something new and know that they're not an expert in a space. He became as much of an expert as possible in the leadership development space, career executive coaching space, as possible. I mean, if you looked at his LinkedIn, it's like, I mean, because he knew he knew he's like, I'm going to prep myself because I want to live on the edge. I want to take the leap. I want to take a calculated risk to do my own startup, to help other teams, whether it's corporate teams, whether startup teams, or Series B teams, teams that are building culture, developing a playbook for HR within an early startup. I mean, every single thing, and then coaching executives. So, and that's why I actually have this book here, but I'll talk about it later, about knowing your strengths and being able to take that leap and trusting your intuition. So he trusted his intuition. He took that leap. He lived on the edge, and he left. Now he has a great startup that he's scaling and doing wonderfully. And now he's on my team to help build culture within the companies that I'm investing in. HR culture with a playbook. And to be able to evaluate teams and how they operate together. It's you have to be highly intuitive with this, and you also have to be really educated and well informed about team dynamics and leadership. But anyway, he lived on the edge. And that's with your career. So like taking that leap. But he trusted his intuition because he had that aha moment. He's like, wait a minute, all these people are coming in and I'm helping solve people problems, human capital problems, with all these other teams across the organization. He could easily have gone the CEO route, right? But the things that CEOs, or maybe a head of HR, but he saw beyond that. And that's kind of like how I am. Like, you can stay in one company and be the CEO and run it, or be whatever HR. But if you're so highly talented that you can help multiple companies because you have this plethora of experience, breadth of experience in all different industries. And, you want to have autonomy and you want to be able to create impact the way you want without having a corporate structure kind of, hanging over your head. It's based on and how you know yourself, your self-awareness. So he knew he wanted the freedom to be able to help as many people as possible in different settings. It's great. It's great. So getting back to like living on the edge and trusting your intuition. One of the things that and I think this is where a lot of people miss the mark. And quite honestly, this comes with age, life experience. But it's up to us, the people that have been through the storms and had these aha moments, to be able to help the younger generation recognize these. And hopefully they're listening and applying some of these tactics, these strategies to their life, personal and professional decision making. But I learned this the hard way. So that's why I want to impart words of wisdom to all of you out there that are going through it or potentially will go through it. So the only way that you will have a sharp intuition, meaning like taking calculated risk, you have to have a very strong intuition. Okay. Anybody who makes whatever it is, investing in a company, quitting a job to start your own company, getting married, I don't know, like any like big decision, even little decisions. You need to have a very strong intuition. And the only way that you're going to make wise decisions, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. First of all, the first thing you have to do, and I said this before, I'll say it in my book, I said it in another talk, I'll probably say it in a TED talk, is you need to remove yourself. You need to surround yourself with the right people. And what I mean by that is people who support you and people who are out for your best interests. So you need to eliminate all the toxic people in your life, like yesterday. And then, quite honestly, if you're in a toxic community, you have to get out of the toxic community. That's number 2. Those are 2 steps. Those are critical for you to actually have clarity in your mind and peace. And then the third step is you need to invest in yourself. And what I mean by that is not just take a class, which is part of it because it helps with self-esteem and confidence, but most importantly, spend time alone so you can really and sit with your thoughts, scary, and emotions. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They usually distract themselves by staying busy at work, and then they never sit with themselves. So they make really bad decisions and everything's in a panic. So you're not making really calm, well thought out decisions because you're keeping busy, because you're avoiding whatever stuff that you need to figure out in your life. So in order to live on the edge and make calculated decisions that are probably going to be 90% in your favor, you need to be very grounded and very stable in your emotions, in your mental thoughts. And the only way you're going to get there is to sit with the sadness, the pain, or the crazy thoughts that from your past. And a lot of us feel shame. A lot of us, and this is going into more sentimental things, but you got to clear that energy out of you in order for you to be calm and at peace. Because when you're calm and at peace, you're in tune with your intuition. I mean, I'm telling you guys right now, if you want to live on the edge and make really sound, calculated decisions, you have to have a very strong intuition. Your intuition will not be strong unless you sit by yourself, get rid of all toxic people, all toxic environments, spend a lot of time alone, cry it out, feel shame, feel regret, feel it all. Don't ignore those feelings because it's just not, it's going to be there for the rest of your life. You got to go through it. It's going through the storm. And then once you get to a place and there's no timeline. That's the thing that sucks. You have no idea how long it's going to last. Could last for years. That's the problem because you're like, I don't have time for this. This is someone like me. This happened to me when I was going through the storm and I was feeling all the emotions and the betrayal and deception and sadness and oh my God, it just shame, a lot of shame and regret. And I remember saying to my therapist, this is just I'm crying, but also funny. I'm bawling and then I'm laughing. Because I almost can step outside of myself and be like, what the hell's going on? Um, I said to her as I'm crying, cause sad, just sad, sad about life's choices and how did I end up this way? Like just really regretful. And it's fine now. I'm like, it was the right, trust me on this. This is the right path. But I said to her, I go, when is this crying going to stop? Because you know what? I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I've got a timeline. I need to be productive. Like I have a timeline in my mind and on paper. I've got a timeline of the milestones I need to reach. I'm like, she's like, this is really corporate. She's like, this isn't, your feelings isn't really, you can't run your feelings like a business. She said that to me. My therapist back in 2019 said to me, when I asked her, when is the crying going to stop? When is the sadness going to go away? Because I'm on a timeline. I need to get stuff done. Her response was, your feelings cannot be run like a business. So bottom line is, in order for you to get to a place of, in order for you to be able to make sound decisions and live on the edge and make calculated decisions with calculated risk, you need to have a very strong intuition. And the only way to have a strong intuition is to sit with all the pain, to get to a place of peace. And then this is why the journey of getting to a place of peace is so arduous, because no one wants to sit with the pain. Nobody wants to sit with the sadness. Nobody, and you don't have a timeline of when it's going to end, which it's very upsetting because you want to hurry up and move on with your life. You're like, I don't want to deal with this. At least that's how I was, and now I have a lot of empathy for people who are going through it. And unfortunately, I'm learning about patience because I first of all, I don't have patience with myself when it comes to wasted time. And it's funny because my therapist is like, Renata, crying and feeling your emotions is not wasted time. And I realize that. But it's like, and I I'm learning I need to be more patient with myself. I'm always in a rush to get ahead, and I need to just be like, okay, chill. And more importantly is I need to be patient with other people, because I may have gone through the storm and I may be at a point of peace and clarity, but someone else in my life may not be. They may be slightly, trailing behind, trying to catch up, but trailing behind. And everybody's on their own timeline, and you can't, and everybody has a different past. And I'm trying to have, I'm telling you guys, this is being honest, I'm trying to have more empathy. I have a lot of empathy. Let's put it this way. I had so much empathy that I got like walked all over because I gave so much of myself without any boundaries in my entire life. I'm a giver. It's like Adam Grant's Givers and Takers. I'm like way on the giver side, or was, excuse me, with so much empathy and so much caring, because I do feel people's pain and I do want to help people. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm finding other ways and strategies where I can help, but protect my peace and keep a distance and set boundaries. So this is my outlet. Hopefully more speaking engagements, more TED Talks, so I can help people. I mean, really, it's really trying to help people. But bottom line is, I was helping so many people and having so much empathy that it was really burning me out. And I was absorbing a lot of toxicity from people, and it's not their fault. It's just the type of person I am. So I'm trying to think of what I was saying. Oh, but where I'm at right now in my life in terms of having empathy for people who are trailing a little bit behind in terms of getting through the storm and getting to a place of peace, and me being really impatient with them, I'm like tapping my foot. Like, are we really? How long is this going to take? Like, and it's really not fair for me to do that, because I was in a place, and quite honestly, I remember when I was in the depths of despair and I was telling my therapist, like, when is this crying going to end? And she's telling me, you can't run your feelings like a business. Because I'm like, let's go. I'm looking back now, at that state that I was in, that, oh my God, that terrible state, I'm almost like embarrassed. I forgave myself for being in that state. Really, like, I'm sure people thought I was crazy, or like, I mean, literally, but I was a lot going through what I went through. I actually did think I did a pretty damn good job holding myself together, at least for my kids. And, maybe, I was going through a lot. I think a lot of us were going through a lot. And the people out there who gave me empathy, who were past the storm in a place of peace, but were responding to me one-on-one or through social media with understanding. I'm so grateful to all of you. I know there were probably 90%, 80% people that are like, she's crazy, because of what I was going through, and they haven't been through it. And so those people will go through it, hopefully, in their lives, or, and they'll remember, oh, that's when she went through it. And my job and our job, the people who've gone through the storm, whatever storm it was, death, divorce, big things. Okay. Big things in our lives. God forbid we have to go through it, but it's life-changing. Sickness. When we're on the other side, and it's our job to have empathy for the people going through it, because we remember back to when we were at the depths of despair. And now I have a lot more understanding, and not like rebuttal, or I don't react to people who are going through it, because I get it. Now, the big thing, though, that I'm learning is you can have empathy and understanding and keep a safe distance, because you have to protect your peace. Like, you can't, there's only so much you can give. The other people have to be ready. And you may need to give them time and space, because everybody's on their own timeline. And I'm learning that now. And there's a couple people that, like, I think Jesse Itzler did that one time. I think I told him that what I went through, like a terrible divorce, terrible marriage, and he's got friends. And I remember I think I was messaging him, and I told him, and he's like, I get it. And so, it's usually it's more seasoned people or people who've gone through major life challenges, life obstacles, that have the empathy. And so, anyway, that's where I'm at right now, is really finding a balance between having the empathy and understanding, but protecting my peace, because I have to, because of my past of giving too much and absorbing a lot of the negativity in it, because I really feel it. I feel it when people are going through it. But anyway, getting back to this living on the edge, it's really critical for you guys to make really sound, if you want to live on the edge, and what I mean by that is make big decisions in your life, both personal and professional. The only way you're going to make successful decisions with accuracy that make sense, like you can take a risk, is when you are at peace, and when you are and when your intuition is heightened. And the only way your intuition is heightened is when you're at peace. And the only way to be at peace is to sit in silence without people around you, to get rid of all toxic people, all toxic communities, and be okay with your feelings and your thoughts. And you don't know how long that's going to take to feel those things, to cry it out, to be angry, and again, I talked about this yesterday, is in order to do that, you need to manage that. You need a healthy toolbox. I talked about this because my son does this in his therapy. Like, what is your toolbox that your go-to to be able to handle negative thoughts, anxiety, anger, sadness? If you're going to like, you have to feel the sadness. If you feel like one day randomly you're going to start crying, just cry it out. You know what? You may not be able to get to your emails. I mean, they're going to have to wait. Sorry. But you're going to be a better person, a better manager, a better leader, a better investor if you go through the storm. And and by the way, it's not going to be like a month or a year of just feeling a sadness, feeling a hurt. It's a slow progression. Like, one thing that's happened to me, and thank God, knock on wood, it's less and less. It's like hardly any. But if I do feel a day like I have to cry, or I remember a sad thought from the past, and I feel shame, or I feel more regret, or I feel like if I see my kids pictures from Facebook of my kids when they were babies, now it's better. Now I'm like, that was a great memory. Now I'm actually, that's why I'm at peace. Because before I'd cry and be like, oh my God, my kids, but they're fine because they're fine now. And so I think we all get to this place. So I don't know if that's helpful, but living on the edge means taking risks in our personal and professional life. In order to take calculated risks that lead to success in both our personal and professional life, we need to have very strong intuition. We need to go with our gut. And the only way to have strong intuition is to be at peace with yourself. And the only way to be at peace with yourself is to sit through the sadness, sit through the shame, sit through the anger, feel everything. And most people don't want to do that because it's scary. It's hard. And also you never know what's going to end. You think it'll never end. You'll think you'll live your rest of your life being sad and crying and being angry. You won't. But you don't know when it's going to end. And that's what sucks. And, but it does end, guys. It does end. And can I tell you, once you get to that place of peace in your life, you can make better decisions. It's not you're making bad decisions. You can take more risks, calculated risks. You can live on the edge more. You can trust your gut more. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'm going to do cards and then I got to go. Happy Friday. I hope this was helpful. I hope to be on the stage and reach more people very soon to help more people so people can live a happy life. That's my goal. All right. Are you more of a Charlie Brown or Lucy? Oh my God. I just saw Peanuts. I just saw Charlie Brown or Lucy. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. I'm more of a Snoopy. I love Snoopy. He's such a genius. He's innovative. Him and Woodstock. They're like a tag team. I'm telling you. By the way, you know what the greatest movie is? No one knows this. The greatest Peanuts movie, you guys have to look at this. It's called Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Watch it. I don't care if you don't have kids. Watch it. It's like the bullies, and they're competing and they're like at camp and like literally, I'm not going to give it away. But, they're like the bullies have like the high tech, it's like venture capital. Sorry, I'm drooling. Okay, so the bullies have this like high tech boat, and Charlie Brown, the girls have it's like a blow up raft or whatever, and then of course I'm not gonna say who wins, but then Woodstock and Snoopy have like it's like a donut, and they just throw up a sail, scrappy innovators, scrappy entrepreneurs. Yeah, watch that movie. Watch it tonight. So I'm kind of more of like a Snoopy because he's well, I mean he's silent. I'm not silent, but in terms of like ingenuity, and he's like a neutral. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of can hang with everybody. He's Lucy is a kind of a B. She complains a lot. Charlie Brown's kind of a pusher. I used to be a Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's too like he's just people pleaser. That was me, Charlie Brown. I'm done with that. Peppermint Patty, I like her. I'm kind of more of like a Peppermint Patty. She's a little bossy. Lucy's worse. She always complains. I'm not a Lucy. Peppermint Patty tries to be diplomatic, but she's not. Maybe I kind of am. It's like it's a democracy and we're all going to vote. By the way, my idea is better. So sorry. Hey, at least I admit it. No, I'm not I'm kind of a Snoopy. I like Snoopy. That's funny. I like that one. That was a good one. In a movie about your life, who would play your mother? Oh, God. That's a really good. Mom, are you watching? Let's see. That's a really good question. Who would play my mother? Meryl Streep. Definitely. 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 Mom, I'm hopefully you're happy about this. Yeah. My mom's a badass. My mom's very strict. My mom has loosened up, but she's still her way or the highway. Sorry, it's true. But I will say she taught me not to take bullshit from anyone. Anyone. She taught my sisters and I that. We don't take shit from anyone. Vivian. My mom is very strong. She went through a lot. My mom's been through a lot. A lot of hardship in her childhood, but she's very strong, strong-willed and strong. She's physically strong too. She's still up at the gym. She's still working out. She doesn't go to the gym, but she was until before COVID. Now everything's in the house. But she was my troop leader, one of my Girl Scout leaders. She went to every single game, every single sports game for my sisters and I. And she worked. She didn't work for the first 10 years because she raised us. And then she went back to work and worked for my dad as his nurse and had flexibility. She took a pay cut so she could have flexibility for us. So she could be at our games at 3:30, 4 o'clock every day, every week. She made gourmet meals almost every night. I don't know how she did it, but she was like, she overworked. She overcheated. You know what? The women back then, and unfortunately the Gen X women like myself, and this is the reason why the Gen X women are the cycle breakers. I'm going to explain why. We are the cycle breakers because our mothers did everything. Our mothers taught us, poured their education, career. You need to have it all. You need to have a good job. You need to be independent, blah, blah, blah. But then what happens is, and they were doing everything. They took a back seat on their careers so they could be like the homemaker. Do you know what I'm saying? And so then we Gen Xers, we're like doing it all. It's like Anne Marie Slaughter. She's probably a baby boomer, but she worked for Hillary Clinton. I'm actually, if you read the article, she has an article in the Atlantic. She was a professor at Princeton. She left Princeton for a year or two and then worked for Hillary Clinton when Hillary was it head of state or whatever? And so the job was very gruesome. And at the time, Anne Marie Slaughter's sons were in middle school, and one of her sons was acting up. She was not at home. Now, her husband was another professor at Stanford, I think at Stanford, and he was a very hands-on dad. Now, when you're a professor, it's very flexible. It's the greatest job. I actually want to be a professor eventually at the end of my life, towards the end, teach locally or at Booth or, teach entrepreneurship. I do want to do that. I'm a visiting professor now and eventually would love to teach. You can do both. You can do venture capital and teach because I have classmates that are doing that right now. It's great. You teach like once a year for a quarter. Anyway, so anyway, she was in the White House and away from her kid, and he was acting up, getting D's, getting in trouble, whatever, and she left. And so her article is like why women still can't have it all. And the whole premise of her article is not just about your kids, it's caregiving. It's up to the woman typically to take care of aging parents. It's really not the guy. I mean, traditionally. And so her whole point is, and she doesn't talk about workplace, but I believe that there needs to be policy change inside the workplace. I don't care what company. I don't care if it's a private company. I don't care if it's a startup. I don't care if it's a public company that supports family, both caregiving needs and the child care, because the onus is on the woman. She has to leave 5 o'clock to go home, and all the guys are going out for drinks, and who's getting the job promotion? It's the guys that are going out for drinks. It's not the woman. Just because she's killing it in the office, she's getting probably more work done than the typical guy, but she's not going out to the golf outings. She's not going to the drinks, so she doesn't get the promotion. It's very unfair. It's very unfair. So anyway, I can go on and on. I'm going to be doing a TED Talk on this. Like it's a big, big deal. What was the question? In a movie about your life, who would you? Yeah, my mother, Meryl Streep. And but my mother, you know, so the Gen X women, us, are the ones that are looking at the millennial women and are saying like, oh wait, whoa, whoa. And the millennial women are about, it's like a power of the masses. They're like saying they're raised by the baby boomers. And I mean, don't get me started on the millennials, because work ethic is not as hard as the work ethic, and the millennials, generally speaking, is not as strong as it is with the Gen Xers. You do the research. I used to lead a market research group at a corporation, so I know this data. Okay, and I'm big on market research. So this is not anti-millennials, but generally speaking, a lot of the millennials were coddled as kids. Okay, and but bottom line is, they expect, because they're power of the masses, they expect certain perks at work. They're not going to work overtime like the Gen Xers. So because their voice is large and strong and powerful, because they're a big, group, corporations have had to change their ways. Now, the Gen X population is a smaller population. We may have had loud voices, but not enough mass to make change. Okay. So when people are leaving companies and whatever, companies are like, we need to change our policy. We need to have like flexibility. We need to offer all these perks, blah, 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 whatever it is. So Gen Xers are looking at the millennials being like, holy shit, they're getting what they want. Like, so we're looking at our lives and saying to our husbands, like, I'm not cooking a home cooked meal for you anymore. It's your time. And the husbands are like, what's this change? What do you mean you're not going to make me my home cooked meal? I'm like, hey, you're free. You're watching Sports Center. You go pick up the kids. I got a meeting. We are saying enough is enough, because we're looking at the millennial women being like, they're getting it all. How are they getting it all? That's because they're demanding it all. They're quitting. They're like, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So we are in this, Gen Xers are in this generation. We've gotten to a point in our lives where we're looking at the millennials being like, oh, and we're like, enough is enough. This is what's happening. This is a shift, guys. I see it. I'm a data girl. I see the data. Plus I trust my intuition. I know what's going on. If you're ever if you've ever consulted a fortune teller, what were you told about your future? Oh, I did. I had my first fortune. I was always afraid of fortune tellers. I was like, always. I'm like, I don't need to know my future. I don't want to know my future. This was always me. Like, I'm too afraid. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear bad things. And I got my fortune read first time in Galena, Illinois, which I'm going there soon. Back there. It's very down to earth and wholesome. Oh my God. I feel grounded there. Nature's all around. It's very low key. There's no flashy stuff. It's farmland. It's who lived there? What president? Grant. President Grant. Wasn't he like one of the first couple ones? I don't know. He's from there. He grew up there. It's like a mining town. I think it's is it iron ore? I don't know. But it's near Field of Dreams. Actually, I'm going to take my kids. We're going to do that. They're going to be like, Mom, do we really need to go see a bunch of cornfield? We're going. I'll make them watch the movie and then we'll go. I went by myself. Was it last summer? It was great. I was wondering if I can like say something like it would come true if I say it to the field. Anyway, what was it? I got to go. Yeah, so in Galena, Illinois. So Galena is beautiful. Again, it's so great to be in like a down-to-earth farm town. Low key. Great trail running. There's like kayaking. It's so nice. So we walk by. There's like shopping in town. So my kids and this was 2019. That was my year of travel. And we were walking down past the fortune tellers. I had been walking past these fortune tellers since I got engaged, or even before that. Yeah. So 2002. I mean, I've been walking. We've been going to Galena for, I don't know, 20 years, 15 years. And back and forth. And I'm like, I just look at people. I'm like, these crazy people that are getting a fortune told. Who are these crazy people? So I said to my kids, I'm just going to do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. And I still have it. I think I put up on Instagram. I should go scroll through it and see. And what was the question? What was it said? It said, one of the things it said is, well, there was stuff in between, but the one thing I noticed was I forgot which card it was, but big things are going to happen I am going to be, big things are going to happen for me. I'm going to be in a big place. And it was very exciting. It's very exciting. Big things, big things. Yeah. But the one thing they did say, they're like, it's going to take a long time to get there. It's going to be arduous. It's going to be an arduous journey. I'm like, it's already started. It's already been hard. Is it going to get harder? And it did. It got harder, which sucked. But whatever. Again, you got to go through the storm. Do you think homework helps kids learn? I had this discussion with my kids. Why am I reading the same one? I do. I think you have to review stuff after. I do believe that learning something in the classroom goes in and out sometimes. I think repetitive. I like when my kids did University of Chicago math. University of Chicago math, the way it's taught is this. It's not the type of math, it's the way it's taught, the way it works. And my kids have been getting it since the beginning of time, like since first grade, second grade, is this. You learn a concept in day one and then for the homework, and then yesterday's concept is on the homework at the bottom. So it's almost like everything it's repeated. So I believe repetition, it sticks in your head. It's like me when I learn something, I actually take notes in class. This was me. I take notes in class. I go home, I rewrite those notes, and I don't know if it's a photographic memory, but I learn it again. The more I rewrite, the more I learn it. I don't know. I believe repetition is key to learning. If you could combine two animals into one, which would you combine? Oh. A dragon? A dragon and a dragon for sure. I was going to say a dragon and a dove. It's like peace and fire. Yes. It's like peace. It's also the flight, because dragons fly, but it's more the demeanor. Dove, I see a dove as peace, calming, and the dragon's like fire. It's nice combination. Next. What's the most bizarre place you've ever made? Honestly, I swear I thought these cards are G-rated. This is not me. I thought we say these cards with my kids. I'm going to do it. I don't care. What's the most bizarre place you've ever made love? In the airplane. Is this public? I'm just saying, the airplane. People are going to be like, Renata. All right, next. All right, I need my glasses. And then I have stuff I have to do. You guys. No one's really listening anyway, right? Tara Westover. I hope you guys listen. That's funny. I'm funny. And I just, hey, when I have guests on, you guys are getting these cards. She grew up in a family who did not allow her to go to school. See, I don't even know who this girl is. Tara Westover. She grew up in a family who did not allow her to go to school. She left home, started school at age 17, and spent the next 10 years on her education, earning a PhD in history. Education, especially for women. Women need education. You know what? The next time I hear some bro on Twitter say that MBAs, it's not, you don't need it just because you're a founder or a startup. I don't want to hear that. You know, I don't want to hear that because I hear it and it really pisses me off. Women need the education, okay? Because we are the underdogs, even at a level playing field and a guide. And you guys can have great intentions, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And thank you for supporting women, but you don't get it, guys. Right now, maybe in the future it'll be equal, but right now we need to be highly educated, triple times as experienced, triple time as prepared to that of our regular male counterparts, of a normal, regular dude. I appreciate all the men out there that are supporting women that say, like, oh, no, it needs to be equal. I agree with you. It is not now, though. What I'm saying is right now, women need to be triple as educated. And I'm speaking from personal experience, and I'm speaking from it being a CEO of a female founder community for the past seven years. Okay? So I don't want to hear, oh, MBA is a waste of money. If you're a bro, fine. You don't need it. Let us get it. Fine. You guys just don't get it. We don't care. But don't tell us that we don't need it. I'm getting my PhD. All right. She tells about her experience in the memoir, Educated. Here's her quote. I don't think education is so much about making a living. It's about making a person. Exactly. The reason why women need education is for confidence building. It's not about, and it's the network. Well, let's put it this way. But I'm telling you right now, when I got my MBA from Booth, which is the #1 business school in the world, I'm telling you right now, nobody questions my ass. Okay? Nobody questions my ass. Nobody questions if I don't know numbers. Nobody questions if I can't do 1 + 1 is 2. Nobody's questioning my ass. Okay? Because I'm running with the elite. I'm running with all the top dogs, the top guys. Because half you guys can't even get into that school. I'm not trying to be elitist. I'm trying to be real. And I had a partial scholarship. So don't tell me that I can't run a fund or that I can't do this. Okay? Don't tell me that. Women need it to be more confident. It adds a hell of a lot more confidence because we get up on stage and we own the stage. We're running a firm because we own the firm. This is what I'm saying. It's confidence, and it's also being able to put the guy that's telling us that we don't belong doing something, put him in his place. We have to be more educated. We have to be more experienced. It's just the way it's working right now. Maybe in the future it won't be like that. But right now, again, appreciate all of you bros out there that are supporting us and treat us equally. What I'm saying right now is you can treat us equally. We're not saying we're better than you because we have the MBAs. We're saying we need it because we have to be able to deal with all the other guys that aren't like you. That's what I'm saying. Which school subject will most benefit you in the future? You want to really know? Social and emotional development. Social and emotional development. Reading people. Managing your feelings. Managing your self-talk. It's literally being able to combat toxicity and some of the mansplaining and some of the, it's social and emotional learning. I think public schools don't teach that. My kids' schools do. There's one of my friends, he just sold his startup to, I forgot the company, but it was an ed tech startup called EverFi. Tom Davidson, shout out to you. Tom is a CEO. It was a bunch of Bowdoin guys. I played tennis with Tom. He was on my tennis team. And then who else? What's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember. But there's a bunch of guys. Awesome guys, down to earth guys. But they over to, I think, 15 years ago, 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago, don't quote me, built a company called EverFi. It's an ed tech, one of the first ed tech companies. I know there's a lot of them, but they did a really good job. They rented a van, they traveled all around the US to farm towns to understand the needs of the public school system, K through 12. And they really did some grassroots. This is what happens. They build a company the right way. They did the research. You have to get down to the level of the people. You have to do the research, significant, thorough research, and identified that bullying, financial education, sexual discrimination, or were areas that the schools didn't have the funds to hire a teacher to teach. So they developed the software and offered it for free to these schools, K through 12, public schools, and funded it through their connections with athletes. So leagues, professional athletes. It's an amazing company, and they just sold it. But one of the things they teach, so these are the things that they teach about life skills that the public schools, I think they should add on social and emotional learning. I don't know if they have that, but like understanding, managing your behavior, managing your mental health. These kids who don't have the support at home to manage their feelings. There's a lot of stuff going on with social media and mental health and depression. And a lot of these kids they're online. They're being like basically parented through YouTube. So like, what can the schools do to provide that type of support for these kids at all levels, at all ages? Anyway, that's it. Anyway, guys, hopefully this was a good session. I enjoyed it. Now I've got to get back to my work, but tune in. I'm on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. I try to do it daily at 9 a.m. Central. Most likely, I don't know if I can do it every day because I'm quite busy. I'm getting busier and busier, but at least a couple days a week. But it will be recorded. You can tune in, but please subscribe. And really the impetus is to help people deal with a lot of the challenges in their life, both in their personal and professional, and overcoming adversity. And I want to be able to share my story in my book, and TED Talks and talks around the country. But this is my way of sharing on a daily basis. Anyway, guys, have a great day and a great weekend. See ya.